Back live at ringside along with HBO boxing analyst Max Kellerman. Max, Terence Crawford's one of the top fighters in boxing. Ring Magazine ranks him number 6 pound for pound. Some people rank him higher than that. This is his 3rd fight of the year, and he's openly campaigning to be the fighter of the year. How's his case?
That would be the 2nd time he'd be fighter of the year,
yes.
By the way. He was fighter of the year a couple years ago. He has as good a case as any. I mean, you look at what he's done this year. Hank Lundy's a good, solid fighter. Crawford destroyed him, knocked him out. Victor Postol is a very good fighter. Crawford dominated him. In fact, he was so dominant it undermined the significance of the victory because people afterward were questioning Postol's quality. That's how dominant Crawford was, and Postol's a quality fighter. And if he wins tonight, and the point is really how he wins, we all expect him to win against an opponent with a weight advantage who fought and lost a fight of the year a couple years ago, who beat Provodnikov recently, who's coming in hungry. We expect Crawford to dominate. Who else is there with as strong or stronger a case? Andre Ward, many people thought he lost to Kovalev, but certainly he got the decision, and Ward is a candidate. So is Kovalev. Lomachenko, you mentioned, Jim. Crawford's case would be as strong as any.
All right, so we'll see whether he can put the finishing touches on his case. Logic says, Roy Jones, if he's campaigning for Fighter of the Year, he would like to get a knockout win here tonight, but now he goes against an opponent who showed up 4 pounds over the weight limit, got down only to 143.4. How will Molina's weight advantage affect the fight?
Well, the only way I see that weight advantage affecting the fight is if he plans to go out and make this a slugfest like he has alluded to, then maybe it will enable him to take more punishment. Maybe that extra weight will allow him to be able to absorb punches that he wouldn't normally be able to absorb from Terence Crawford. Maybe that's in the back of his mind, his real plan. He didn't want to lose too much weight because he didn't want to weaken himself so that he was unable to take the fierceness or ferociousness that he's going to face against Terence Crawford. If you cut the ring off against Crawford, you're asking for trouble. It's good to have a little extra armor on to deal with that trouble that you're going to face when you cut off TC.
And traveling out of Pensacola, as he always does, Roy Jones traveled a little bit early this week so that he could come here to Omaha and spend some time at home with Terence Crawford. Let's take a look.
So Terence, tell us about your upbringing here in Omaha, Nebraska.
Well, my upbringing in Omaha been like a roller coaster. I think the biggest obstacles was being from Omaha. You know, we a small city, and you tend to have a lot of friends that you hang out with that's getting in trouble because there's really nothing else to do. If you don't play sports, then getting in trouble is the next arsenal.
When I was coming up, I felt like I gave my whole city an opportunity to know what it was like to have somebody that you could attach yourself to, like a Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray Leonard. Do you get that feeling?
Of course. It's like one of the biggest events when I'm fighting in Omaha. Everybody get up for it. Everybody hitting me up on social media. Every time I see somebody, they always telling me, keep bringing it here, because this is the only time we can ever come and see you fight because we can't afford to go out of town.
So in your boxing career now, I mean, when I was coming up, you know how it was. I made the song, Y'all Must Have Forgot. And they said, you don't fight nobody. I said, no, I ain't fighting nobody. I just make them look like nobody. Y'all must have forgot. How you feel about that? Is that where you at in your career now?
Well, when I beat Postal, everybody was like, oh, well, he was a straight up fighter and he was basic. And I'm just like, well, when can I get a break? And they always gonna have something negative to say. But me, I just take it in one ear and not the other and just go in there and make sure I keep winning, that's all.
When I beat James Toney, I feel like now I have arrived because I beat somebody that they thought I couldn't beat. Have you gotten to that spot yet? And if not, who is that person you think you need to beat to get to that spot?
I asked to fight, I've been asking to fight Pacquiao.
What would a victory over him do for you?
Well, I love a fight with Pacquiao. That's a fight that me and my team been calling for and asking for. But yet again, I beat Pacquiao, I beat the old man. Either some people are gonna give you credit, some people are gonna always find a negativity in something.
Keep calling out the best because the only way you're gonna get to be the best is you gotta beat the best. So just because they ain't coming, don't stop calling.
Right.
Good to see you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Tail of the tape now for Terence Crawford against John Molina. You see the 4-year age advantage for Crawford, and Molina has a lot of ring wear on him. 2-inch height advantage for Molina, but an arm length advantage of an inch measured from the armpit to the end of the fist for Terence Crawford. He weighed in under the 140-pound limit, and of course, Molina, as you know, arrived at 144, couldn't get down past 143.4, lost his chance to fight for Crawford's titles, and instead is an opponent who enters the fight with a weight advantage over Terence Crawford. And here's a look at the weigh-in as it took place yesterday.
144 pounds, 144, the current weight for John Molina Jr.
So what's curious about the weight is that you made the interim weights, of course, making it look as though you're perfectly on track. You make weight, and then you wind up 4 pounds over. What happened?
We did everything under the sun to get that water off, and I can give you one specific example. Is I was in a 180-degree sauna, fully clothed, sweatshirts, attempting to make the weight for 15 minutes straight, and not one drop of water came off my body.
So John Molina coming in off a victory over Ruslan Provodnikov, an upset win for him over Provodnikov, in which he outboxed Provodnikov and flashed what amounted to a new style. He was throwing 90 punches per round, 40 of them were jabs. He was boxing and moving far more than has been the case, because in the past, he's been something of a slugger, Max.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention something about the weight, because Molina's career has been a very good one, not the type of guy to miss weight. He's a professional. He said he hadn't changed anything in terms of the strength and conditioning coach that he brought in before the Provodnikov fight, so they followed the same regimen, and therefore he couldn't understand why he was over the weight this time. It seems to me, Jim, that if you're lifting weights, even if they're light weights, over a month or two, which would be before the first Provodnikov fight, that's one thing. If you continue that program for yet another training camp, you will build some muscle and be unable to simply sweat off the weight at the last minute. And it seems to me that that's what happened here.
Healthy round of boos for John Molina as he enters the ring here. Roy, do you find that as you get older, there comes a moment when your body simply will not offload the weight anymore?
No, not as you get older. Sometimes once you get a little too dry, it becomes very difficult for your body to get any more out. However, I mean, I don't think he would have had a problem with that. I just think he didn't want to sacrifice himself, meaning that he didn't want to lose too much so that it weakened his body so he couldn't win the fight.
All right, and now let's take a look at Terence Crawford as he prepares to enter the ring. You heard Max Kellerman say that he sort of penalized himself in his big fight pay-per-view showing against Victor Postol. He won too easily and didn't get the kind of credit that might have been the case had it been a pitched battle back and forth on both sides. He wound up knocking Postol down 3 times, winning every round, and this was truly a runaway, Roy.
Yeah, it was a runaway. Totally wiped Postol out. Postol was a guy who came in to me as a big guy that they thought could overwhelm Crawford, but he couldn't do it. Crawford eluded the jab and did anything he wanted to do. Totally had his way with Postol, and nobody really expected that from him.
You saw the speed of Crawford and his flexibility. Max, of course, one of the things that would make Crawford-Pacquiao interesting is Crawford's ability to turn southpaw, and in the eyes of most, he goes from being a tremendously good conventional fighter to an even better southpaw fighter when he makes the switch.
Yeah, he's got all the tools in the toolbox. We saw Andre Ward a couple weeks ago figure out a way to get that decision against Kovalev and come back in that fight. Another American star with all the tools who knows how to apply them. And Crawford is that kind of fighter. You look at his resume, Greatest Prescott, Ricky Burns, Gamboa, Beltran. I mentioned Lundy, Postol, Delorme. He's fought a lot of quality fighters, and he's dominated all of them.
Part of the proud tradition of American fighters from Midwestern cities, products of urban ghettos, difficult neighborhoods in those cities, and of course, You could talk about the Spinks brothers. You could talk about James Toney. You could talk about Jermaine Taylor. Most especially Floyd Mayweather from Grand Rapids, Michigan. He's kind of a model for who Crawford wants to be as a boxing star.
Yes, he doesn't have Floyd's personality, and Floyd's personality and the fact that he was always fully prepared and won every fight resulted ultimately in those kind of paydays he got. But there have been lots of fighters throughout the history of boxing who've done very well financially by winning by just the quality of their work over time. And Roy, you bring up Marvin Hagler a lot because when talking Crawford, because he could also switch orthodox southpaw and was very skilled and a tough guy. And Hagler just beat fighter after fighter after fighter until the big fights came.
And that's what I think Crawford will do. That's what I think he's ready and prepared to do. And I think that's the best thing for him.
Saw Ray Beltran make some very smart adjustments against Mason Menard in the preceding fight. You're looking for the one fighter in boxing who can most rapidly change a fight with an adaptation on the fly, a clever moment, a brilliant idea. This may be the guy. Let's go to Lupe Contreras for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from CenturyLink Center, we continue with the action once again. Being brought to you by Hall of Fame boxing promoter Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, and presented in association with TGB Promotions, B&B Boxing Promotions, and being sponsored by La Cerveza Tecate Born Bold. This bout set for a distance of 12 rounds, and on the line, the WBO and WBC Junior Welterweight Championships of the world, being supervised by, for the WBO, Travis Ford, and for the WBC, John Duggan. The three judges in charge of scoring are Robert Hecko, Levi Martinez, and David Sutherland. At the sound of the bell, the man in charge, referee Mark Nelson. And now, Omaha, turn on. This is the main event of the evening. We find out quién es el más macho. Introducing first, the fighter standing in the blue corner, wearing black with green trim when he stepped on the scale. He weighed in at an official 143 1/2 pounds. In 35 bouts as a professional, he has earned a reputation as one of the most rugged, heavy-hitting fighters in his division. With a pro record of 29 victories, 6 defeats, 23 of his victories coming by way of KO. From Covina, California, the Gladiator, John Molina Jr. Standing across the ring, wearing Cornhusker red and white. When he stepped on the scale, he weighed in at an official 139 1/2 pounds. Started from the bottom, now he enters the ring. An undefeated three-time two-division world champion with 29 victories. 20 of his victories coming by way of KO. Defending his WBO, WBC, and Ring Magazine Junior Welterweight titles. Born, bred, and reppin' Omaha, Nebraska, Terence Crawford.
Chief second, please. Chief second. Gentlemen, you've already received your instructions in the dressing room. You both know exactly what I expect. Please give the fans a good, hard, clean fight. Obey my commands and protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves. Good luck to both of you.
Outside of the ring, Terence Crawford is fan-friendly and accessible. But Jim, of all the qualities we've mentioned, my favorite about Crawford inside the ring is he's a mean fighter. I think, maybe the meanest fighter in boxing once he's between those ropes. And Molina has given him reason to be even meaner by missing weight.
Yeah, great point. Terence Crawford already was entering the ring with a lot of incentive. He wants to state his case for Fighter of the Year. He's got a reason to be angry at John Molina. And now, just to add to all that, Ray Beltran has scored a spectacular knockout in the fight preceding his entrance into the ring. This is Crawford's hometown. He doesn't like being upstaged. He wants to do something now that matches up to what Ray Beltran did. And there's a right hand over the top, and the crowd responds immediately.
And we don't usually see him come out to start that early and put those kind of power shots on an opponent. Usually he takes a couple of rounds and fills them out. But maybe this weight thing has him a little bit heated and ready to do something bad to John Molina.
And at 28 years old, given his experience, what you might be watching on a night like this in his hometown in front of these fans is a great fighter in his physical prime.
In the conventional stance, double jab with the left hand, right hand over the top. Molina lands a right. And now Crawford switches southpaw immediately. So he switches southpaw a minute and 20 seconds into the fight.
I like the choice of Molina as an opponent tonight. He always makes a good fight. He's a quality fighter. The fact that he's a huge underdog makes him no different than anyone else in the division against Terence Crawford. But he's the right opponent in front of these hometown fans of Crawford's to give them an exciting fight while it lasts.
And Terence is hoping to run him into something really big right now out of this southpaw stance. You can see him set for Molina to come in. Molina trying to figure out when to go, but he's not really sure because Terence is so set.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
The only bad thing about what Molina is doing is he's not cutting the ring off. He's following Terence.
Which gives him a chance to run into a Terence Crawford right hook.
Or a straight left hand.
Either one.
Can't follow a guy who's quicker than you.
Oh, great body shot. Oh, and the precision of this is beautiful to watch. He's thinking early knockout, but he's cool as a cucumber while he looks for it.
Of course he is. And he knew that the other kid knocked him out with an overhand left, or knocked him down with an overhand left, yes. So he immediately turns to the southpaw position to put that on Molina's mind.
Well, with the exception of one sweeping right hand by Molina, round one was all Crawford. And the Crawford family has begun the family celebration already at ringside. They wear Nebraska red. They cheer for their man. They are visible and active.
Okay, he gonna eat that jab and that right hook all day with that straight left. You gotta touch his body a little bit, okay? Don't forget, when you go out, keep your hands up, all right? When you left-hander, give me double that left. You landing the first one, land the second one. All right? Step in with your hands up. Hit you with that one little shot that was it.
Here you see Terence do something very smart. He normally is a little bit heavier than him, so he sticks the left out, sticks the right out, then comes back with another left right to the body. Beautiful combination, followed by a good left cross jab, a right cross jab, I mean, from the southpaw stance.
A look at the wide variety of weapons in Terence Crawford's arsenal. Still in southpaw stance now as round two begins.
I love what Molina's doing here. He sees that kind of steady pressure is just a prolonged execution here. And so he's putting on a little more wild pressure, which will likely hasten his demise, but at least give him chances in the meantime.
And that's the only chance that he has, is to try to put that kind of pressure on him. He knows it's going to get him killed eventually, but he'd rather take a chance of trying to land a big shot first, which is very smart.
Yep, give yourself a chance to win rather than no chance to win.
Exactly. Like I said, though, the only bad thing is you can't follow a big puncher.
By that.
When you follow a big puncher, you're bound to get clocked.
But if you keep your distance from a great boxer, you're bound to get carved up.
Well, Terence is both, though. He's a big puncher and a great boxer.
So pick your poison.
Don't follow it, though. Cut the ring off. At least you have a chance to escape the shots.
Maybe don't fight him.
You got to do that if you're a fighter.
Yep, and you're in the division.
I love the way that Crawford makes you prepare for his conventional fighter skills. Makes you spend 8 weeks in training camp thinking about what he might do out of a conventional stance. And then he dispenses with it in a minute and 20 seconds into the fight because you know he's going to wind up in a southpaw stance at some point anyway. He's more powerful from that side.
Well, if you got stopped or got dropped by a southpaw and he can do both, why would he not turn to a southpaw stance right away? I was surprised he didn't start out as a southpaw.
Every now and then, underdogs who are getting whipped like this throw a Hail Mary, do something to set up an overconfident champion and can have a moment. And that's what it looks like Molina's trying to do.
He's trying to, Max, but the extra weight may have slowed him down even more because he doesn't seem nearly as quick as he usually does. And that's not good to be in front of Terence Crawford. So it may have backfired.
Crawford seems to be more or less landing at will.
He is. Target practice.
Crowd's in a frenzy here at the CenturyLink Center in Omaha.
Oh, their guy is putting on a show.
Good try by Molina. Good slip by Crawford.
Yeah.
It's not because Molina's not trying, though. He's trying to do exactly what his corner is telling him to do.
Quick time.
Next Saturday, we'll wrap up our 2016 live boxing schedule with a triple header, headlined by the final ring appearance, he says, of 51-year-old legend Bernard Hopkins. He'll be taking on Joe Smith, who in his last fight knocked out highly regarded Andre Fonfara in the first round. Big puncher, Smith.
When you get inside, work with that free hand. Understand? Yep. Let the hands go. Jab, jab, you pawing, you waiting, and trying to counterpunch. You can't counterpunch this motherfucker. Hey, you gotta make him fight. Okay. You're not making him fight.
He see Crawford throw a straight left that kind of grazed the chin, but followed by a beautiful right hook that landed right on the chin. Then he missed. Slipped the punch, missed the left uppercut, slipped the punch, and then followed with a beautiful straight left hand. Remarkable move.
Terence Crawford makes it look so easy. There are very few fighters in boxing who have mastered the craft in such a way as to make it look as easy as Crawford can. Lomachenko is one. There aren't many others. Look at those numbers in the first 3 rounds. Crawford landing 39 out of 99, and so far having been touched 6 times by John Molina.
Yeah, and I didn't see those 6 shots.
They may have been body shots, Max.
I saw a right hand in the first round.
He did land that right hand in the first round, that's true.
That's one. That's another. Oh,
that's 2.
That's 2.
You got to give him his credit, though, Max. He's trying his hardest. I mean, he's outgunned here, but he's trying.
And that's what I like to see. Instead of the, hey, let's stick to the game plan when the game plan's just not going to work, throw caution to the wind.
Well, I think this was the game plan. Good body shot by Crawford.
Good body shot by Molina in return.
Yeah, I think this was the game plan, Max. Throw caution in the wind and go for it.
In this case, the wind hits back, though.
Yeah, it does. It hits back hard. As a matter of fact, it's a whirlwind.
Somewhere Antonio DeMarco is saying, oh, come on, Terence. I got rid of him in 40 seconds.
A little bit of a quick stoppage in that fight.
That was on the undercard of Andre Ward versus Chad Dawson. The Oracle Arena in Oakland. Straight left hand lands perfectly for Crawford. Crowd oohs and ahs.
I mean, Molina's just got a lot of heart.
Yep, and good body shot he just landed there, too. He has a lot of heart. He's trying with all he's got. He's going for the home run, no doubt. which he knows is the only way he's going to beat Terence Crawford. Of course, you wouldn't expect that he could win a decision here. And he understands that. So you like to see that at least he understands what he's up against.
And the harder Molina swings, the more opportunities he will offer to Crawford to hit him something which he doesn't see coming.
And Crawford will take every advantage of every opportunity that he's given.
Molina, the way he's moving and throwing punches, looks like an actor in a bad boxing movie from the old days. It doesn't look realistic like what you normally see in a top-level prize fight. And then when you compare it to Crawford's coordination, it looks even worse.
But when you see a bomb like that, you understand what he's trying to do, though. You saw how hard he threw that right over the top. That was a bomb. Those kind of punches could end the night for anybody. So Terence has to remain smart, poised, disciplined while he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, and that's why Molina was a good choice for an opponent. He's giving people something to watch.
Obey the bell. Here we go.
Three rounds in the books, 9 rounds to go in Omaha.
Been jabbing at that right hand of his. Gotta freeze that wild ass right hand coming over. All right?
Don't let him run. Make him burn his legs out and fight. But you gotta throw more than one shot. You can't hit him with one shot. Okay. If you throw the left hook, come back to the right hand. If you throw the right hand, come back with the left hook. Okay? And one jab is not it. Double jab.
The old cliche that if you can touch him, you can hit him. Here you see Molina gets lucky, and he touches Crawford with the right hand, but he's off balance when he throws it. So just in case that cliche is true, here he comes with a real bomb, but he misses and leaves himself wide open. But Terence just didn't quite get him that time because he wanted to avoid the bomb first.
Round 4 of a scheduled 12 begins. CompuBox numbers overwhelmingly in favor of Terence Crawford. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, I got a 3-0, 30-27, Terence Crawford. You know, Jim, John Molina just keeps coming forward with his hands down. I mean, he's just wide open. Crawford circling, going both ways, and nailing him with good shots constantly. And that's the story of the fight. Molina coming in, hands down, absolutely wide open. I mean, you couldn't miss him. You couldn't miss him if you tried. And Crawford just whacking him with good left hands, good right hands. 3-0, Crawford.
Crawford throwing very smart punches, constantly throwing that check uppercut at him, which is a very smart shot right there. Forcing John to keep his hands at home when he attacks. But you gotta admire John's heart. To take punches like that and continue to just chase your opponent says a lot about John Molina.
You can see why he was in a fight of the year a couple years ago against Matisse. He lost it. But you see why he's in that kind of fight. And against Provodnikov was more of a boxer than the aggressive fighter. And he won that fight. But here he's doing the only thing you can against a fighter of this quality.
He's going for the fence.
Crawford making it look easy. Midway through round 4 against John Molina.
It's like John almost lays a punch out like he's expecting to get hit, but he doesn't care. Good body shot.
What a body shot.
Explosive body shot.
Crawford's assertive side-to-side movement occasionally makes Molina look silly.
Obey the bell here.
As Molina lunges and reaches and tries as hard as he can to somehow stay in the fight.
You're not letting your hands go, John. You're not letting your hands go. If you let you getting there and stopping and letting him think.
We gotta go, John.
You gotta let your hands go. And it's not one shot. You're in position when you get there. You gotta let the right hand, left foot, right hand go. You can't be looking. Okay, when he moves to your left, throw the left hook, make him bounce it to the right hand. He moving to your left, the right hand. Remember we working.
Here you see Crawford land the best body shot of the night to me, followed by a short right cross jab again. Right there that landed on the chin. That was a really tough body shot for Molina to absorb.
There's Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett thinks that Terence Crawford is money.
He's right.
He would know. Oh, Buffett, stop showing off in the cheap seats.
Buffett's one of the few guys who can say, Crawford doesn't look like $1 million tonight. He looks like $1 billion tonight.
It's something that he comes out. You see, like Crawford, the Cornhuskers. I mean, what are the franchises in this neck of the woods? Crawford is one of them. Professional sports franchise.
Doing a good job of tying Molina up once they get close, so that Molina can't hit him with those wild looping shots.
And by the way, when you're talking about franchises, Max Kellerman, this is the arena in which the Creighton Blue Jays play basketball. And right now, they are in the top 10 and regarded as a potential candidate for the Final Four the way they're playing.
And have a pretty good team, Jim.
Very good team.
And yet are only the second best performers in this arena.
That is correct.
One thing we always talk about, Max, is about guys being first. And what's happening to Molina here is every time he thinks he has Terence trapped, he allows Terence to attack first. And that's what's causing him to always be behind in the exchanges, like right there. Everything he does is behind Terence. So Terence really has nothing to worry about because it's not likely that he's going to catch Terence after Terence catches him first.
I mean, this is a fight that should be, in its way, inspirational to less talented fighters.
Because?
Not that Molina's going to win or that he's doing much of anything, but there's such a talent gap. There's such a skills gap. And there's Molina giving it everything he has, putting tremendous pressure, everything he can on Terence Crawford, and keeping it up. Doing whatever it is he can to try to make something happen. It may not work, but there's value in the effort.
And he's making a hell of an effort.
I mean, it's highly unlikely to work, but it gives him something. He's not going to go gently into that good night.
There's a certain level of competition, though, at which John Molina just doesn't exist. And that's why he has trouble beating people like Matisse, Broner, Terence Crawford, the better opponents against whom he's been in the ring.
If you have trouble with the other guys, there's got to be a stronger word for it against this guy.
So is there a moment, Roy Jones, at which Crawford could simply choose to step forward, amp up the pressure, and try to bring an end to this?
No sense in stepping forward. Let him keep bringing it to you. I mean, the hardest thing in the world is a head-on collision, right? He's bringing it all right to you. Just let him run into that head-on collision eventually. Don't take no chance if you run into his.
This month, look for 2 episodes of my show, The Fight Game. Wednesday, join me, Max Kellerman, Bernard Hopkins, and Melissa Stark as we look back at Kovalev, Ward, and Lomachenko-Walters fights, plus show you a group of fighters who may change your perception of the relationship between boxing and Parkinson's disease. And on the 28th, don't miss our special year-end edition. We'll review the year that was and hand out awards, including our picks for Fight and Fighter of the Year.
Thing over and over. You know, jab, jab, right hand to the body.
Try not to lean in. Try not to lean in with your head.
Hey, jab, jab, bang to the body. Bang, bang, bang to the head. And when you get in, work. Don't wait for the referee to break you up. Pull back and Get him up.
You're listening to veteran trainer Shadid Saluki in Molina's corner, and then you got to look at Terence Crawford as Crawford calmly watched the ring and waited for the bell to ring for the next round.
Good overhand left by Crawford. That man hurt Molina. Oh, good hook by Molina.
Crowd gets excited here at the beginning of round number 6 as Crawford comes out and lands a couple of hard shots.
You know what this fight reminds me of, guys? Larry Holmes, Tex Cobb.
I was about to say Raging Bull.
That's the night that Howard Cosell stepped away from professional boxing.
Cobb never stopped coming forward, always was trying, and Tex Cobb had an otherworldly chin. And Larry Holmes was utterly skilled and just beat the hell out of him for 15 rounds.
And this kid has a hell of a body because he just got caught with another one of those vicious lefts to the body that would have took anybody else out of here. Oh, good straight left hand by Crawford.
How many more rounds do you give this one, Roy?
Maybe 2 more at the max, but he's taking too many real vicious shots, and those body shots are making it worse.
Yeah, and someone who cares about Molina pretty soon has to consider how much more is worth it.
Molina hustling back across the ring.
You got to give him credit now. He bought into the plan, and he's trying his hardest to do exactly what him and his corner had planned to do. And you got to give him credit for that.
But the more aggressive Molina is, the more open he is to Terence Crawford's precise counter shots.
Yeah.
Which is why I said it makes no sense for Crawford to step forward to do nothing. John is going to bring it right there. Just wait on it. Good hook by John.
Your head, don't hold. Here we go.
Referee Mark Nelson has 3 times now warned Molina about coming forward with his head in a fouling position. Molina doesn't know whether he's fouling or not. He's just trying to get close to Crawford.
He doesn't care.
The issue with stopping a fight like this, if you're in Molina's corner, is that you recognize this was the way this fight was going to go, and your only chance to win was to walk through this kind of fire and eventually land something big that can change the fight around. So you're prepared for this kind of fight. But when you actually see it unfold, you have to ask yourself, as the likelihood diminishes that something big will land, is it worth it?
Well, for him it is. Max, he's a fighter. This is what fighters do. So for him, his goal is to do one thing, try to land a big shot. For him, if he ever could land a big shot, then it would be worth more than just this to win the fight. So is it worth it for him? Yes.
What about for his corner?
His corner, they don't care.
Halfway through, we've completed 6 of a scheduled 12.
But you start dropping your hands. Keep your hands up. Keep doing what you're doing. Just keep your hands up. Cut to that body. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Now this is the time to pick it up because he done slowed down. Okay, but the thing is, the referee is breaking it up real fast. Yeah. So you can't just sit there. As soon as he tie you up, break away, snatch, stepping back, punching with your hand, so it won't be holding. Okay. So look, bang, bang, bang. Duck away, start hitting it. Pull back, look, don't just lay there and cooperate. Okay. Understand? Yep. But he's slowing down now. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, 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 bang. Put your hands up and go. Okay. Go all the way in. You got to be punching.
Shadid Saluki wanted his fighter John Molina to cut off the ring tonight against Terence Crawford. Instead, Molina has been following Crawford around, exactly the opposite of cutting off the ring, and as a result, taking constant punishment.
Yeah, and I'm not saying his corner don't care, Max. What I mean is they're trying to get him to do what's necessary to win. They know that that's his only chance. So they don't care that there's a risk. They know that that's the only possible chance to win the fight.
Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, 6-0, 60-54, Terence Crawford. I mean, Jim, there's no doubt who's winning this fight and who's winning these rounds. Molina just keeps coming in with his arms down, and he keeps getting hit with everything but the kitchen sink. As far as stopping a fight goes, I mean, he's taking a terrible beating. I would hate to see John Molina get hurt. I wouldn't blame Mark Nelson if he stopped the fight at any point. 6-0, Terence Crawford.
I totally agree. This fight could be stopped at any point, even though there hasn't been a moment at which Molina looked like he was ready to go.
Well, he has taken some pretty vicious body shots, though, Max. And because of him following around Terence Crawford, it is dangerous. Because following a guy like this, you could run into something really bad, something that could be career-ending. So I understand what you guys are saying. And, I mean, the bad part about this is that this is the sport of boxing. Nobody makes us come here and take this. We choose to do this. And if this is what we choose to do, then don't take us away from it. He knew he was going to take this coming in.
Given that Crawford was content to go through 12 rounds against Postol and never really step up and press the issue of trying to knock him out, and he wants to be fighter of the year, and clearly this is a mismatch. Is there pressure on him to finish this fight before the final bell, Roy?
No, it's not, Jim, because finishing this fight could be crazy if he took a chance and got caught. Like that hook right there, that hook could have changed everything. So you got to understand, this kid still is dangerous, Molina. He's not a walk in the park. You have to be very careful. And the best time to hit a guy is when he's trying to hit you. So if he goes out and tries to take Molina out and runs into a big shot, everybody will be calling him the craziest fighter ever.
And I think he is trying to take him out. You know,
of course.
He's really sitting down on some very hard punches, but credit Molina's durability and his heart.
And he's doing it when Molina's coming at him, which is the smartest thing to do.
As the 7th round moves toward a close, Crawford has landed nearly 150 punches in the fight, and Molina has landed 35.
And still coming like he thinks he has a chance. And he really believes that he has a chance.
Crowd booing after Molina pounded away at Crawford's kidneys, hitting him in the back.
Good left hand by Crawford.
Crawford demonstrating that with his movement, timing, and his fakes, he can set Molina up and hit him pretty much at will.
That left. Round, under, straight. Good job. Good motherfucking performance, man. I just need you to still watch out how you come out, okay? All right? You must be bleeding because you're not.
With your hand, sometimes when you get over here, I want the right hand uppercut. Here, bang. Here, bang. You got to do that, okay?
Yes, sir.
You got to do it. No, he's fine. He's fine. Okay? Yep. Now let's do it. Okay. Let's do it. Yeah, he's good. Okay, hands up, keep moving. Move, going, bang, bang. Go. Not a big shot.
So referee Mark Nelson asked a Nebraska ring doctor to come to Molina's corner and take a look at him, and you heard how energetically and fervently Shadid Saluki was saying, no, he's fine, he's okay. Please go away, leave him alone. Doctor took a good look and decided not to stop the fight. Harold Letterman's card unofficially shows Crawford still winning every single round in what has been a total mismatch here in Omaha.
But Jim, they expected that. This is what everybody expected. This is what Sadiq knew would happen. Nobody expected Molina to be even in this fight at no point except if he can land that big shot. So they knew that he was farly outclassed. Good shot right there. See what I'm saying?
Look, lands for
that's what they're looking for. So they didn't expect Molina to be winning the fight. They're looking for a one-shot knockout. They told you that.
And that's the problem or a contradiction or irony, at least maybe in boxing, is that once in a blue moon, a guy like Molina in a fight like this, that actually works.
Yeah,
once in a blue moon, but it's very difficult to tell the fighter and the trainer entering a fight, preparing for that kind of fight and that possibility, that they're not going to be the blue moon. They have to believe that they're the exceptional case.
And that's why they're there. If they didn't believe that, they wouldn't be in here tonight. So you can't tell him to do it, yet you don't want him to do it at the same time.
But the rest of us, though, have to play the odds. And if 99 times out of 100, it turns out really badly for the fighter like Molina, then it's understandable if we expect maybe the proceedings to be halted before too long.
And that's true, but that's why the rest of y'all also don't box, because boxers have to have that mentality. Any fighter has to have that mentality. Oh, good shot.
And it's the job of the corner to stop the fight to protect the boxer if that's going to be done.
That's
not
true.
The fighter himself.
That's true too, but the corner here was expecting just what's happening right here. So they're gonna wait till they see that it's really being detrimental to him before they do it. Right now, they're not saying that he's really in trouble, which he may be, but they don't say that. And he is starting to fade and take a real whacking right now.
Gets him into the corner. Molina lands a right hand to get out of the corner.
And that's the problem, right? When it seems like he's done, he lands a big shot. Oh, good body shot. He won't stand many more of those, though.
Crowd is in a frenzy. Mark Nelson's going to stop the fight. A deafening roar in Omaha.
You know, you say a fighter's ready to go out on his shield, and that was Molina and his corner tonight. I would prefer that kind of mentality were it a more competitive fight. In this case, though, knowing that was his only chance to win, them being prepared for that kind of fight, they did everything they could, and obviously it wasn't nearly enough. It was a satisfying ending for the crowd. I still would have preferred it be stopped before it was.
I understand what you're saying, but yet we're still mad about the Walters fight ending like it did, because he didn't have this same bravado and this same heart to go like this. So you can't contradict ourselves. In pro boxing, this is what we have to see.
Crowd is still going crazy.
Of course, they got what they wanted. They got their money's worth. Molina didn't let the crowd down. Neither did his corner. And Terence Crawford did some vicious body work. That's what led to the demise of Molina. I mean, these body shots, that was a good uppercut. But those shots right there, Jim, that knocked him off balance, but that body shot is really what caused the damage. And then watch this one. That one right there really did everything. I mean, look at those body shots. The head shots are good, but the body shots like that, you see that? That's what takes it out of a fighter. Those were what were the most devastating shots in the fight. Not those head shots right there. He'd have took those all night. You see, he took that knee didn't even buckle. But you see this right here? That's what causes problems. So the arm come down, he was ready to go right there. See, he had already started going down before the head shot landed. The vicious body shots from both sides. Wow.
And as you watch the Crawford family celebrating, bringing out Felipe Contreras stands by with the official particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, a series of unanswered blows prompts referee Mark Nelson to step in and call a halt to the action with an official time of 2 minutes, 32 seconds of round number 8, declaring the winner by way of technical knockout, still WBO, still WBC, and still undefeated world champion, Terence Crawford.
Final CompuBox numbers, and this will be a landslide for Terence Crawford as he lands 143 more punches. He throws 132 more punches, and he triples John Molina's connect rate in total punches. Power shots, even more one-sided. He lands 87 more, he throws 26 more, and more than quadruples John Molina's connect percentage for power punches, landing half of them, as it turned out. Now Max Kellerman stands by with the pride of Omaha, Terence Crawford.
Congratulations, Terence. You put on a show for the hometown fans as usual. Heading into this fight, you said it was important to you to be fighter of the year again this year as you were a couple of years ago. Do you think this performance does it for you?
Of course. Of course. I showed everything in this fight.
As a dominant champion, sometimes you're not going to get the credit for the wins that you have because your opponent isn't competitive, as was the case in the Postol fight. Molina is a credible opponent, but didn't win a moment of the fight. You beat him up and knocked him out. How do you get around this issue of getting credit for these contenders that you continue to beat when you beat them so easily?
Well, first of all, I like to thank God for blessing me with this victory. Without him, none of this would be possible. But credit to John Molina, he came, he fought, he did everything he could do. But at the same time, I'm just a fighter. I don't make the fights, I just fight them.
We know that you're interested in fighting Pacquiao. Do you think that that fight can be a reality in the near future?
That's up to Bob Arum and my managers and my coaches. Of course, I would love to fight Pacquiao, but you know it's a business.
In the event that you don't get Pacquiao, is there another fighter in or around your weight class that you think you can make a big fight with?
Well, right now, anybody with a title. Anybody with a title, Ricky Burns or the newly crowned IBF champion, I want them belts. If I can't get Pacquiao, I want them.
At welterweight, there are some names there, although there may be promotional or network issues, but one that jumps out to me as a different kind of talent is Errol Spence. Do you think eventually someone like that can be a big opponent for you?
Yeah, of course, but he at 147, I'm at 140, and he may be moving up, but sure, that'd be a great fight.
Terence, congratulations. Always a pleasure to watch your work. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Omaha! Omaha!
Jim?
And one more look at Terence Crawford putting John Molina away with that final assault in the corner. And as you watch it, just look at the precision. Look at how he carefully places every punch exactly where he wants it to be. Roy Jones, this pound-for-pound thing is getting very difficult to deal with. There's so much talent at the top of the sport. When you consider that a guy like that good, is ranked 6th by Ring Magazine. I've got him 6th in the Fight Game rankings. It's incredible that there are 5 fighters that you can rank ahead of that, but you could just as easily rank him number 1 as anywhere else on the list.
Yeah, all of that is a matter of opinion, Jim. A lot of the times we like to rank these guys according to their duration. How long have they been at the top of their game? Also, who have they faced while at the top of their game? This guy fights any and everybody that's close to his division. So quite naturally, he's one of those guys that could go from number 1 to number 5 without a doubt. He can go anywhere on your list and you wouldn't be mad. I'm just happy that there are so many guys now that we have in boxing that are capable of being put on that list. Guys who deserve that we can argue about and have legitimate arguments about as to who's number 1 through 7.
Tremendous talent at the top of the sport. Max Kellerman, you mentioned Errol Spence. There are other great talents on the other side of the dividing line at welterweight. Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia. There are still others. It's a tremendous desire on all of our parts that the political divisions be brought to an end in boxing so that the best can fight the best. And most particularly in the case of Crawford, that means we want to see him against those other welterweights.
Well, you said great talents. I think you mentioned good talents. I think Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia and the like are good or very good talents. But Terence Crawford looks like a great fighter in his prime. And so you need to find another great fighter or special talent. Lomachenko is one to the south, but Lomachenko looks a little small for Crawford, and I think even by Lomachenko's admission, maybe Crawford is too big, and I think Crawford feels the same way. There's no one else at 140, and so you look north. And when I look at the welterweight division, the only talent I see there that I think is special, that has the chance to be great and to compete evenly with a fighter like Crawford, is Errol Spence. But Spence hasn't proven it yet. He's just shown that potential. Crawford has mowed down really good fighters now for several years. None of them have really been competitive. He is a pound-for-pound elite fighter looking for another guy like that to make a big fight with.
Great point. Well, it's been a tremendously busy weekend in boxing. A lot happened here on HBO. Very quickly, we size it up for you. In Auckland, New Zealand, Joseph Parker and Andy Ruiz fought for a heavyweight belt, and Parker became the first Pacific Islander to win a heavyweight belt, and he had a tremendous crowd supporting him in New Zealand as he did so. Later on, across the ocean in the heavyweight division, Anthony Joshua got a third-round knockout of Eric Molina over in the United Kingdom. So Joshua and Parker move forward on what could ultimately be a path toward a collision between them. Here in Omaha, veteran Ray Beltran, much beloved by a lot of people in the sport, produced one of the greatest performances of his career, maybe the best, in knocking out Mason Menard in the 7th round. A lot of people thought that young Menard would produce a spectacular knockout in the fight. Instead, it was Beltran who did so. And then Terence Crawford closed out a perfect 2016 with another overwhelmingly dominant performance. When can we find somebody who can actually compete with Terence Crawford? It's getting difficult because he is so good. Thanks very much for being with us on this edition of World Championship Boxing. Note the upcoming HBO sports calendar, as next week is a busy one. Tuesday marks the beginning of 3 consecutive episodes of the documentary series State of Play. Wednesday, it's the next installment of my show, The Fight Game. 2 days later, it's a Latino triple header, followed by Bernard Hopkins' Farewell Fight. The next couple of weeks bring year-end editions of Real Sports and The Fight Game. We close the year with replays of HBO's Best Fights. And this just announced, our first event of 2017, Boxing After Dark, featuring 2 action fights. For all that and more, go to hbo.com/boxing. And now for our entire crew here in Omaha, I'm Jim Lampley saying so long and see you next week from Los Angeles.